All right, I'm Cedric Torbert. I'm located right here in Columbus, Georgia. Home office in Phoenix City. I am a tax accountant. I have been doing this for the last 15, 16 years. I am licensed by the IRS to represent you before the IRS. They really don't like us, but they still give us licenses every year. It really don't make sense. We help save people money. Who likes saving money? Hopefully that's why you're here, right? No, of course AI is great. AI still scares me a little bit. Do anybody remember that movie Smart House, Smart Home, what it was called? That movie still scared the bejesus out of me. And every time I hear AI, I think about that movie. But with that being said, how can AI help us financially? We've been doing this, like I said, over 15 years. Put this down. And the biggest thing what AI does is what for business owners? Like I said, this is gonna be interactive. I'd like to hear some participation. What is the number one thing that business owners need to do or try to save? Money? Yeah, I like that. What else? Who said that? Time. Time. It's always time, right? Because if I can save time, I can do what? I can make money, right? So what we need to make sure, and that's what AI does. AI gives us time. Like he said, AI sucks at math. It really sucks at math. So everything that we are gonna talk about today, make sure you get with someone like myself. Make sure you have somebody, whether you're working with them quarterly, whether you're working with them at the end of the year, whether you're working with them every month, make sure you have someone going through whatever data that you're using AI with to make sure it understands you. Because what AI doesn't do is what? Build relationships. AI is not gonna know that every week, you don't have a long week, you gotta go get you a margarita. What AI is not gonna know is that when you have your stress moments, you go on a shopping spree. AI is not gonna know that. So make sure you're building that relationship with someone like me to make sure everything that is developing as far as your numbers that you understand. All right? Who all has QuickBooks in your business, or Xero, or FreshBooks, or Wave? All of those are what I've just named, those are bookkeeping platforms, right? We utilize those with all our clients. Most of those platforms now have went to an AI component that helps out with some of the things, such as getting the categories together, such as making sure you find out those patterns like Alan said, but it's not perfect, right? So you still need someone like myself, someone like yourself going through it, but it saves so much time. It actually, we just found out a case, AI really helped out a lot. It was this lady, she actually been losing out $10,000 every year. It come to find out that a fraction of like 2 cents was getting taken out of her actual invoices every time she gotten paid. Over the year, it came out around about $10,300 some dollars. She has lost that for like 8 years straight. Nobody ever found it. So by $80,000, she literally lost, right? Now, AI helped find that. It deducted the pattern. It literally told us what it looked. We had to do some deep investigation, and we went from there. Faster categorization, reconciliation, and document management. If you're in the business owner, if you looking at your numbers as you should be, you know the biggest thing is making sure you know exactly where your money is going. You need to know exactly how much you spend at Staples, exactly how much you spend at Starbucks, exactly how much you spent on that streaming service that you have in your office for your people coming in, right? With AI, that helps go through that platform so much quicker, and it can help put those categories and those categories in a manner that you can easily see, that you can easily inspect. Now, once again, I'm gonna keep saying this throughout my monologue, is not a replacement, right? You don't wanna just take whatever AI has given you, whatever spreadsheet, whatever P&L is giving you, and not consult with someone like myself, or your bookkeeper, more likely someone like myself. Because if it's not correct, if it's not on your manners, if it's not what your goals are, right? Everything that you use should go for your goals, right? Anybody got a goal for next year in their business? Give me a goal, give me an example. It doesn't matter if somebody shout one out. It don't matter what's your goal. All right, nobody want to give out a goal, I'll give out my goal. All right? I want to spread my resources over 50%, which I want to make sure that I earn around 400 some thousand. That's the goal next year. And I want to do that only with just speaking events and stuff like that, right? And not talking about everything else that we do. So what we actually went ahead and did was use AI, kind of, like you said, the language model, put together that presentation, that actual business plan, and what we're gonna do is model ourselves around that. AI scans the spending trends to identify year-end deductions. How many people here have known already how much you spent this year? Yeah, right? AI can help make that quicker, right? Now, you're probably gonna cry a little bit once you actually see how much you spent, where the money is going, but AI can help you notify that quicker. AI projects your tax liability to suggest adjustments. Now, that's one of the biggest things that we work on because we're here to make sure you keep the money in your pocket, right, and not give it to the IRS. If you're trying to build wealth, that is the main way you can build wealth, by keeping the people that's the biggest money grubbers out of your pocket, which is the IRS. AI can help with that. How many people know how much money you need to save this year to break even? No one? What'd you say, ma'am? Okay, well, that's fine. One of the things that you should know, right, and you're working with someone like me, how much are you saving? Like, how much does it cost you to break even that you don't owe the IRS nothing? I don't owe them, they don't owe me nothing, right? Because that's a perfect return. That's a perfect tax return, right? A lot of people they want those glorious refunds. They want that money back, but we really don't want a refund. Why? Because you're literally only getting your money back. If you're getting money back, unless you have children, unless you're going to college, unless you put so much money in a retirement account, if you get a refund, you overpaid the IRS, right? AI helps with that. AI can help make sure that you're calculating how much your tax liability should be, that you're only giving the government exactly how much you should give them. So, for example, let's say you're making $90,000 to $100,000. They push you right around about that 22% tax bracket, right? So you should be paying around about 20, 21, somewhere around that. Now, first of all, why pay that? That's too much money to be paying the IRS. You definitely want to have a tax plan so you get that reduced. But you definitely don't want to pay over that. AI can help make sure that your numbers, your tax liability is exactly where it is, so you can keep all the rest of the money in your pocket to invest, to grow, to save, to vacation, or whatever case may be, and you make sure IRS stays out of your pocket. It alerts you to underpaid or overpaid estimated taxes. How many people get those letters in the mail from the IRS, the state, anybody else? Anybody? All those letters that you get coming from an AI-generated platform. I'm telling you now, all of them, they put in their little algorithms. Every time a month goes by, you haven't paid this, they send you a letter. They send out a notification. All this AI driven, right? AI tools analyze return on investment on end of year purchases. How many of you guys have started looking at what you need to buy right now for the end of the year? Or looking at, if you're not gonna buy anything right now at the end of the year, if you're gonna cost defer that and do it at the beginning of the year, which if you're not, I really recommend, because a lot of things are on sale at the beginning of the year. But if you do have to go ahead and cost load or buy extra stuff, right? AI can help make sure that the list that you're spending, that you're getting, making sure that you're not overspending, right? We just went and did that last weekend. We actually went through everything that we needed for the upcoming year. We did thank God, we did do great. We had a good year, so we went ahead and bought a lot of supplies. We went ahead and bought ink for the whole year. We bought paper. We bought pens. We bought everything that's going to be needed for next year. Now, we did that to go ahead and give us more tax write-offs, right? But also, with that being said, we couldn't have been able to do that as quickly as we did without the use of AI. And honestly, we used ChatGPT. We wrote a great prompt. I suck at prompt writing, I really do. My wife was great at it. We wrote a prompt, it came out with a spreadsheet and everything, and we went ahead and went to work. Final opportunity to reduce this year's tax bill. That's one of the things, if you haven't been tax planning, that's what tax planning literally is. How can I reduce what I owe the IRS? One of the cool things that we do with all our clients at this point in time is we literally take all their numbers and we do a mock tax return. So before the year end is out, they know exactly what they're looking at for what they're gonna owe in taxes. Now, why do we do it so early? Because we still have time to do any other strategies and whatnot to reduce the tax bill. Case in point, we just had a client last week sold their property 2.1 million. They got a capital gains tax around about close to $600,000. Can you imagine writing the IRS a tax check for $600,000? I don't even like writing one for $6,000. Now, with that being said, we knew this in time. We had already been working with them. We had already took their business model, their plan. We used AI. We came up with a tax strategy that will give them around $700,000 in savings already before we got to this point, because we knew they were trying to sell their property. Now, here's the cool thing. We had already calculated the capital gains even before they got the capital gains. Now, we hadn't even talked about the rest of their expenses in their business, their everyday expenses, right? Cell phone, home office, travel, gas, fuel, repairs. They're gonna actually get a refund for the credits, right? All with tax planning, all with the assistance of AI. Yes, ma'am, please, everybody ask questions, yes.
What prompt would you give them to say, look at the third bullet down, helps optimize timing, the second one, predicts how purchases affect your tax income. Do you say these were my purchases?
Well, the biggest thing is, like, that's why you say you'll want to definitely be working with someone like myself, because in a situation like that, we take all the data, for example, to ChatGPT. So we take their financials for the year, for their balance sheets, their profit and loss. We literally put in their goals. That's why I say you want to have a relationship, the person that you're working with. So if your goal is, I want to increase my business revenue by 10% between quarters 1 and quarters 3. All of that information is put together in a great prompt along with the data from the balance sheet, the financial statements. And then once we put all that in, it literally comes out with a kind of plan. Now, once again, we take that plan, like Alan said, we just don't leave it up to the computer. We go back to the client and like, hey, based on your goals, let's make sure this outlines everything that you're doing. So that's how that'll work in your case. Any other questions on that before I go forward?
Yeah, so you're not saying to it, you're taking that information and dropping it into ChatGPT?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not really, hey, I want you to do blah, 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 blah.
Just like what Alan said, great, exactly, because it's not really good at math, and you really, and you really don't want it to be doing math. So as far as it's just my example, anytime that we're using AI, we're literally doing the math before we put it in. We're putting the data in. So we really wanted just to come out, get our thoughts and everything organized, but the math we're doing ourselves, right? AI helps identify qualifying assets, 179 and bonus depreciation. Now, I can talk about all day the big, beautiful bill that just came back out. The one thing I do like about the big, beautiful bill, it brought back bonus depreciation. Did everybody know what that is? Bonus depreciation. All right. How many people drove here in the vehicle today? Right? All right. That's the easiest one to use, right? Most vehicles weigh over 6,000 pounds now. Most vehicles do. Now, I can take anybody's vehicle out there, if you have not done it before, let's say you got that vehicle this year, I can write off that vehicle in this calendar year right now. So let's say you spent $40,000 on that vehicle, we do it the right way, you get a $40,000 write-off this year. That's depreciation. Let's take it on a grander scale. If you are in real estate, which, all right, if you're not in real estate, if you got the opportunities, I recommend everybody go that route. Real estate is great. Real estate is the number one way to get depreciation, number one way to build wealth if you're trying to save on taxes. For example, we just literally got a client, they just bought 3 houses. And what we did with them, we did bonus depreciation. It's called a cost segregation study. A cost segregation study is literally, we take everything in this room, everything that depreciates, from the fixtures, from the floor, from the studs, from the HVAC unit, everything that depreciates, we get it together, we ball it all up, and we come up with this lump sum of tax savings. So that client, once we got done with his bonus depreciation, he had over $200-some thousand of tax write-offs that he can use not only in that calendar year, but he can spread it out for the next 5 years. Yes, ma'am.
For home businesses,
Yes, ma'am.
are you able to use the depreciation in that, for that office? And not the whole home, but for the office in the home?
You can, because a lot of people don't know, right? Because I started off in a home-based business, so I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys did also. You can do a cost segregation study on your personal residence. It does not have to be a rental property or a commercial property or something of that nature. It can be your personal residence. So, okay, especially if you do have a home office in it, well, whether or not you do, you can. So to answer your question, you definitely can. All right, it tracks placing service deadlines automatically. That's one of the things that we do utilize AI in. Everything that we do put in if we have it to put in notifications. So it notifies us when we need to notify the clients. We need to reach out to get statements from them, reach out to get information from them. So it definitely helps with that. It predicts depreciation impact before year end, going back to what I was talking about. You should know, well, right now, you should know pretty much what you're gonna face in tax liability. You should have some sense right now how much you're gonna have to pay, if you're gonna have to pay, because you want ways to not have to pay, right? Reduces the risk of missed deductions. One of the biggest things, what you just brought up, most people miss the home office deduction. They miss that deduction, right? A lot of people often miss, for whatever reason, they miss the fact that they can claim their cell phone, right? Another thing that a lot of people often miss out. A lot of people miss if they have multiple vehicles that they use in their business, right? Let's say you get up on Monday morning, you take this car to the office, but you get up the next day, you take this car. A lot of people miss out the fact that you can claim one vehicle for mileage and you can depreciate the other one. But once again, that's why you work with someone like myself. Prepaid rent, ads, supplies. AI can help forecast the best time to pay all these things. Once again, just like I talked about before, previously, you will want to do some of this stuff right now, right? Like, let's say you are looking to buy a vehicle. When the best time to buy a vehicle? The end of the year, when they're trying to get rid of all of the new cars that's still on the lot, they bring in the new shipment, right? The best time to pay your rent. If you want to catch up on your rent, when is the best time to do that? At the end of the year, before the cost of living increase comes and they raise the rent the next year. Buy equipment, vehicles. Once again, the same thing. Most equipment, vehicles, everything is cheaper at the end of the year. AI flagged opportunities for SEP IRAs and solo 401k contributions, right? We utilize this a lot. We're helping our clients' tax plan. If you are a business owner, I recommend you have a SEP IRA for your business. A SEP IRA is a self-employment retirement account, which is so much different from a regular IRA, which you can contribute up to $7,000 a year, right? Which is great. Now, SEP IRA, which I have, my business has, we can put in up to either 6% of our annual income or $26,000, right? Which is awesome. We talked about that already. All right. Also, we have been utilizing AI a lot, helping clients make sure they're in the right entity strategy. We have a lot of clients who come to us, they don't got their information from TikTok or Instagram, how they need to set up their business. Their business need to be a C Corp or S Corp. and they haven't made any money, which is okay. We use AI to make sure each client knows which entity they should be in, whether they're a sole proprietorship or if they have multiple people, they're a partnership, and they make sure they can get the best tax deductions. Like, for example, who knows that if, based on how your business is set up, it can help pay for your child's college? For example, I'm about to have 2 girls that's graduating this year. Oh, God. They're yeah, pray for me. They suck as employees, but they're both in my business, right? They suck. Now, when they go to college, who's paying them right now? The business, right? So the business is putting money in their bank account right now. They're writing them a check right now. So when they go to college and they got this course to pay for, the company writes them a check, who gets the write-off? Exactly, that easy. Just all about just having your entity set up correct way. Quarterly planning, right? It helps design pricing models and margin improvement. It helps automate bookkeeping and cleanup using AI categorization. Most of the platforms now, like I said before, whether it's QuickBooks, Xero, Oracle, all of those now have some component of AI that'll help categorize everything. But once again, talk with somebody like me. I don't care whether you understand it or not. I don't care if you think you're the master of QuickBooks. Talk to someone like me to make sure that is not only these data is lining up, that your goals is lining up, because that's the biggest thing. What can AI help you identify that you may be missing, right? Are there deductions you aren't capturing due to bad data? How much time would you save if AI handles 70% of your bookkeeping? Think about these things. I want you to leave out of here thinking about these things. It can help determine salary, S-corp salary. It can forecast tax liability, like I said before. It helps monitor payroll compliance and errors and so much more. I'm running out of time here. It can do a lot, right? AI can do so much. Don't be scared of AI. Make sure that, once again, we had a client, they've been utilizing AI. They literally brought all their stuff to us, like, hey, help us to make sure what we're doing is right to what you need from us. So we literally walked them through everything that they're doing and to make sure they're in a great position. That's all I have. Any questions?
What was your company name?
Torbert Financial Services. We're located right here in Columbus at the Corporate Center.